Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So, a lot of requests to take a look at the Black Sabbath farewell concert, and I mean, just first of all, that as an event, as a show, the amount of talent that was on stage is just amazing. And I think it raised almost £200 million, something like that, for charity. So just an amazing event. And when I was just doing a bit of research into this for the analysis video, I saw with one particular news organisation, they did an article on it and were looking at a particular song from the set. And I mean, what they were saying was incorrect because they didn't know what they were looking at and what they were listening to, which we will cover in this analysis video. I think that a lot of people maybe thought that with Ozzy's health issues that he's had, that he might lip sync or mime this particular show performance, but he absolutely didn't. He was singing 100% live. Now, I think the reason why this analysis video has been requested by so many people is because there are contrasting views on what some people were hearing and what other people were hearing. So we will jump into that, and of course this will be an objective analysis video, and my videos are always the same regardless of whether I'm a fan of the band or artist and whether it's in my wheelhouse with my particular look and the kind of music that I listen to. I will be objective, so we're just going to cover exactly what was going on. And the first thing to point out is that the live show was streamed, but there was a 2-hour delay from the show to then people seeing the live stream. On the left hand side is at the venue, so this was somebody in the crowd that recorded it on their phone, and on the right hand side we have, well, I've called it TV footage, but it's more like stream footage. You didn't have to watch it on a TV, you could watch it on anything. So we're going to listen to the isolated vocals, and I have synchronized them so we'll hear them playing back at the same time.
My woman, 'cause she couldn't help it in my mind. People make me say because I am drowning all the time.
So, what we can hear is, I mean, it's clearly the same vocal that we're hearing, but you almost get a robotic sound to it because one of the vocals is exactly a semitone lower. So that's why we get that sound, that it's not the same vocal repeated twice. So just to point out what we're looking at here, on the left hand side you can see the C sharp 4, and Ozzy was slightly flat of that at the venue. But then after the 2 hours delay into the what is now the live stream, it is now directly over that D4. So you can see that that's now been moved up here, and when we get to the E4 up here at the venue, that has now been shifted to the F4. So when I say that it's a semitone out, and this is why it sounds the way it does, these lines are showing you how that has happened. So this line here has just been moved up to here, and this line is Ozzy's voice, and here it's at the D4, and here is actually in between the C4 and the C sharp 4. So that one's been moved quite what I would say is a dramatic amount up in order to get up to where that D4 is. So in a nutshell, what we've got here is an edit that has happened in the 2 hours from the show to then being live streamed. And again, I would say that this whole event, it is nothing to do with pitch correction, auto-tune or anything like that. It's like just a celebration of Black Sabbath and the final curtain call for the band and their farewell concert. And I'm sure that the fans don't care, as I've said, with Ozzy's health issues, they don't care that it's not going to be an amazing vocal, but they've still taken the decision to have a 2-hour delay where they can edit everything for then the people that are watching the live stream. So I will move this forward. We'll listen to the next section.
Only love can be nothing seems to satisfy. Think I'll lose my mind if I don't find.
So yeah, we still get the same thing going on here. We're over that F4, and here when we start over the F4 and then we just drift down to the E4. And I mean, what I love about looking at audio in this kind of detail is that we can see unique waves of pitch that happen, like here where we have this M shape. You can see we get the same M shape here, so it's exactly the same audio. And this is really important to mention, that Ozzy is singing live, and this is absolutely the live vocal here at the venue, and the live vocal has been edited. They've taken Ozzy's live vocal and just moved where the notes were hitting. And I mean, I'd say that doing this for, I mean, obviously it's not a show that went on for hours and hours and hours, so within that 2-hour window they've now worked away at it in order to pitch correct Ozzy's vocal. But they've done what I would say is, considering that time constraint, a really good job, if you want to call it good. It's all subjective as to what you're talking about, but or how you feel about it. But what I'm talking about is from a production perspective. I think that doing the job this quickly is impressive. Let's listen on.
Something to satisfy. Can you help me? Occupy my brain.
And actually what I'm going to do is, because Ozzy is a semitone out, and I wouldn't even say that he's that dramatically out. He's just a semitone out. So it means that if we take the instrumentation down a semitone, then I'm going to just try and do this now. Then we can have a listen to his vocal to see how it sounds when everything's brought down a semitone. So let's have a listen. So now this is from the venue, and I've taken down the instrumentation a semitone. I mean, we'll just skip it forward. And I would say, actually, that considering everything, that is a pretty accurate vocal, the semitone below. So, I mean, it's probably the case that Ozzy is just so solid with his intervals that once he's started in a particular place, he's now getting those intervals exactly a semitone out, but he's really accurate with it. So I'll just let it play on a little bit more. There. Can you help me? He's still, you know, really close to the E4, which is where it would be if it was a semitone lower, but the instrumentation is a semitone higher. It'd be great to talk to the sound guys that were, you know, behind the desk on this particular performance and song, and just the show in general, to see what they were having being played into Ozzy's ears, if he had in-ear monitors, whether he's using a foldback, you know, speaker, because he's consistently a semitone lower. Could it have been that he was listening to the instrumentation a semitone lower? I don't know. You'd have to ask the sound crew. I don't know why they would do that, but it might be the case that he's hearing it, even though it's happening a semitone higher, he's hearing it a semitone lower. We will just have a little listen on.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, here you can see the F4 and the F4 here. Not a great deal has been done to that. And yeah, as we come down here, the D4, this is actually a C sharp 4, so this has been moved up. The article, by the way, had watched the performance of Mama, I'm Coming Home, and they were listening to the pitch corrected version of that, and that's the one that they said it didn't really matter where the vocal was and that it wasn't, you know, perfect, all this kind of stuff, but they were listening to the pitch corrected version anyway. So I think when you watch the footage back and you see the members of the crowd, especially in Mama I'm Coming Home, they were hearing the genuine live vocal from Ozzy, and they were getting emotional listening to it, because it really isn't, and this really wasn't about pitch and having to make it perfect, because everyone supports the band anyway. It's just, you can almost hear the crowd singing along. You can definitely hear them singing along, but getting behind Ozzy and helping him sing the songs, because there was so much support there, and I love that side of it. And I don't know, for me, I think it's a bit of a shame that they've decided that whatever happens live, we are going to delay the stream for 2 hours so that we can correct Ozzy's voice for the live stream audience. Because for me, I don't really have a problem with hearing it how it is, or how it was, and how it is at the venue, and not how it is then when it's edited and pitch corrected. Because the original audio was the original audio, and if Ozzy's voice isn't, spot on and isn't amazing the whole time, that's his story, that's his journey, and that's where he is. And that's, I think, what Black Sabbath and their music is all about. That they made their music and they didn't really care if you liked it or not. That's the whole point. And yeah, I think by now pitch correcting and trying to perfect things, it's almost like the production team are caring about what people are thinking, because it's got to be of a certain quality. So yeah, I mean, it might be something that they say if they release this as, the final concert, which of course they must release it in the future at some point, to have the memories for the fans, but also this final performance. But whether they'll have on there to mention that it isn't the original audio from the show, that it has been pitch corrected, I don't know whether they'll say that or not, because people now who are paying for that final concert, they won't necessarily appreciate that we're not really hearing Ozzy's true voice at that stage. It's something that has been edited by a production team before then being released. So again, this is all subjective, and it's all down to you, what you think, and whether you think they should have changed it or just left it as it was and have it as, this moment in time, as it was what it was. I think the reason that a lot of people were asking me to do this and have the objective analysis is because some people were at the venue and they heard it as it was, and they didn't complain about it. They just said, it's Black Sabbath's final performance, so it was what it was. But then you get other people who are watching the live stream who were saying that it sounds really accurate, and they weren't expecting it to be so accurate from Ozzy. But then obviously the people at the venue said, oh well, it wasn't that accurate from what we heard, but it is great. It is a great show and great atmosphere, and it's a great final farewell. But this is the whole point, that you've got two audiences that are effectively watching two different things. But anyway, what an event, and what a band. I think they influenced so many other bands and artists, and just with, great songs, but just their attitude, because that's what it's all about. You buy into a band because of what they sound like, but who they are. And you never ever got the impression that Black Sabbath or Ozzy was anything other than what they were as a band, and what Ozzy is as a human being. And it is such a great way to have this a final farewell to the band. And I understand the reason for all of these requests, given that disparity between what people were hearing. But thank you guys for all of the requests to take a look at this final performance from Black Sabbath. I hope you have enjoyed this analysis video. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!